What's up, guys? It's your host, Palpowski, back with another Dragon Ball related video. Today we have What If Goku Became a God of Destruction, Part 4. Thank you so much for the support that's been going on with this series. I know it's slowly coming out, and this probably isn't going to be the longest part, but I decided to just actually record this literally this night because I just shouted out my channel on Spartanic Arts DxD, which is now my main channel. Technically this is my main channel, but whatever, you get the point. Go over there and subscribe. That's where I do what ifs on Goku as well, and just numerous amounts. And I also have that's where a bunch of my people are coming. So welcome to the channel. And without further ado, let's try to hit at least 100 likes again, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Just for reference, we're right at the end of chapter 2 if you want to follow along, starting with the entire country. So let's go ahead and get into it. The entire country sighed, lit up, and buildings glowed as machines came to life. The parademons and drakes ran to the armory to suit up. The parademons were filled to the line as they walked through the building that contained their armor. Flashes of light shot through the windows as each parademon stepped inside. They came out completely covered in golden armor. To those who never trained, the armor would weigh at least 100 pounds. To them, it was lightweight. As they sprinted to the courtyard, their wings were covered in silver armor as well. They held weapons that required a strong being to hold. Huge cannons that had precise aim and fast fire rate were held in each arm. Twin blades were attached to their hips, and a special thing about them, they had powerful concentrated light that was trapped and formed a single blade. Standing at 7 feet tall with enormous muscles, the parademons were ready for battle. The drakes stood across them dressed in their black and glowing red armor. Their helmets showed glowing red eyes like Darkseid, and their energy assault rifles strapped to their backs. They held one energy sword in their arms, in their palms, with hidden weapons inside their suits to give them an edge. The furries stood at the entrance of the enormous courtyard that overlooked all the soldiers. They saw the tanks, drive-in and troop transports arrive and land, ready to take off when the battle began. The Furies were all decked out in super armored versions of themselves, with Granny Goodness and Wunderbar standing in front of them. All heads turned when a recently cleaned Kakarot and fully awake Maxima walked down the steps of their palace. Maxima was smiling at seeing the whole army in perfect order for their god, and the terrifying presence of the parademons. She smirked when the army raised their swords to the sky as Kakarot stood above them with his arms crossed. He was joined by Barda as they looked at the sky to see blinking lights draw closer. "Are they ready, Barda?" Kakarot asked. "Yes, dear, but we have a problem." "The Amazons?" "Yes, they want to fight as well. I believe they won't take no for an answer." "Where's Diana? I want to speak with her," he commanded. "She's coming, Kakarot," Maxima said as she pointed to a flying Amazon coming towards them. She landed with grace as she walked towards Kakarot with his commanders. "Why won't you let us fight? This is the reason I brought my sisters along," she said in a low tone. "If you want to fight, then join the fight. I want their weapons replaced with modern weapons. New Genesis is far more advanced than the Amazon, so bows and metal swords won't do the trick. Can you do that?" he asked the Amazon Queen. "It'll be partially done. Some of our weapons have unique abilities that technology won't be able to replicate. Other than that, it will be done," she replied, and took flight once more. "Go with her, Barda, and make sure they know where they're going when the fight starts. We'll get the troops into position when they land," he commanded. "At once," she finished and jumped onto the transport. "Granny, you have to command your Furies and parademons. I want their air support taken down and their troops transport shot out of the sky. Send your Furies in after the enemy lands, not before." "Yes, Dark One," she responded. "Wunderbar, you have full command of the drakes. Do what you want with their thin numbers, and if you can, take out their ground support so the rest can be handled by the Amazons." "Yes, sir," he saluted. He walked towards the balcony to see all the soldiers looking towards him and waiting for his words. "Listen here, your greatest enemy has come to keep you in line, to keep you weak. What they don't understand is that the soldiers of Apocalypse have become greater than their own. Their High Father sends a small force to take care of you, a small force. They think you are not a challenge since the war began. Today is a test for you, to see who is capable of delivering death and pain to our enemies, to see if your training has paid off. When they land, I want to hear their screams as they die. I want to hear their ships crash and burn to the ground. I want their High Father to know he fucked with the wrong planet." He shouted and caused the whole army to erupt in cheers and parademons roar in confidence. "We have a problem, Kakarot," Maxima shouted as she listened to her communications. "What is it, Maxima?" he asked as he turned around. "My ship in orbit says there is another force heading straight towards us. They used the meteor field to hide their presence from our scanners and are closing in fast." "Damn! Alright, listen up, generals. I'll take care of the ships coming from our blind side. Proceed as planned, deal with the small battle group," he shouted as an aura came to life. "What are you doing, Kakarot?" Maxima shouted as she saw his hair began to become sharper and electricity surrounded his body. Everyone stared at their god as his aura grew in size. The soldiers gawked at the spectacle, as heard their god shout to the skies. The Amazons felt small quake as they prepared for battle and saw glowing golden light. Diana knew who it was, and questioning of his power was the rest as the rocks around them levitated. Barda smirked as she saw the shockwave and dark clouds form around the palace, knowing her husband was causing it. "He truly is a god, my Saiyan god." Over the chatter of the Amazons was all she heard. "Must be Kakarot's power output. It was interfering with communications. Why would he be doing this?" she asked out loud. "I believe that is the reason why, sister." Artemis pointed out the huge ships entering the atmosphere, dropping troops transports near their location. "Diana, we have to defend our position. We don't have a long-range weapons to take them out," she shouted to the queen, who was spinning her blade. "We don't need guns to bring our enemies to their knees. We know how to fight this. Join us," she shouted as a warcry ripped through the air from the Artemis, and the Amazons ran to their targets, dodging and blocking their gunfire before drawing blood as they slaughtered the invaders. Everyone stood in awe as they saw the changed Kakarot. His hair was sharper, with one lock hanging from his forehead, and his eyes transitioned from blue to yellow. Other than that, nothing had changed except for the bioelectricity that shot from his body. He narrowed his eyes as he saw the sneaking armor begin dropping troops and deploying air support along the tanks and turrets. "Wunderbar!" he shouted, his tone more menacing. "Yes, sir," he said quietly. "Take half of Dregs and help Barda take out the ground support." "Yes, sir." He hurried away to the transport to Dregs' battleground. "Can you handle the force this large, Granny?" he asked. "It will be simple, my lord." "Good. Take them out of the battle. I want a victory on that battlefront as soon as possible. Do you understand?" "Yes, Kakarot," she responded, left with the Furies as they took a large attack force to another front. He raised his hands and took aim at the cluster of battleships and cruisers. With grunt, he launched powerful beams and engulfed the ships that caused a massive explosion. "Ready to fight, Maxima?" he asked with a smirk. She responded with a smirk of her own as they took flight. They saw the battlefield that Barda was located and were impressed by the number of bodies laying on the ground, some filled with holes and dregs and many missing limbs from the Amazons that were hiding from the tanks and turrets. He smirked as he fired the beam at the barricade of tanks, and turrets vaporized them upon impact. The Amazons and dregs shouted at the Triumphant as they pushed forward. "Help them, Maxima! I got the ships!" he shouted over the noise. She gave a nod before drawing a sword. She had taken the armory, flying down to help decimate the soldiers more. "Now, time to show them what a pissed-off Saiyan can do," he said to himself as he approached the ships. Barda looked at to seeing the screaming Maxima swoop and began slashing soldiers left and right. She saw the tanks already locked onto her, but a green blast destroyed the vehicles, and a smiling Ariza landed next to her, glowing with energy. "What took you so long?" she asked the young lantern, but received a glare from the woman. "You left me in my room unconscious and locked my rings in a box. Took forever to break open," she shouted as she let loose a fury of beams at the other tanks. "Sorry, kinda got distracted by the invading army and giant ships," she replied bluntly before running forward. "We're not done talking about this," she shouted as she flew into the air to destroy some of the sleek jets raining from the fire of her allies. "I hope the others are having just as much fun," she thought as her cuts her skull. Granny Goddess got to watch the kill fest that her attack force was dishing out. Her parademons kept the skies clear and limited the number of troops dropping on the ground, while some attack ships were on the inside. Her drakes launched their missiles and their suits towards the tanks and turrets, leaving plenty of room for Furies to slaughter. The Furies left the rivers of blood as Lesh's whips were moving so fast that it cut right through them. Speed Queen ran through the soldiers with her sharpened gauntlets, making heads roll off her neck slice open. Stompa crushed heads with her super strength and leveled the area that held turrets. Knockout laughed as her enemies tried to kill her but failed and paid the price with their lives. Her strength was amazing, and as her punches killed the men and women of New Genesis, Galitea and Bloody Mary used their pent-up frustration as inspiration as they cut down their enemies. Mad Hera's laughing was heard as she used her razor-sharp claws to rip everyone to shreds, and her sharp teeth to bite off heads. Granny laughed as the soldiers tried to run but were instantly killed, and the ship fell to the ground and parademons killed the crew. "Sir, we have to fall back," a scared voice shouted through the comms. "Hold your ground, soldier. We can still win this," he ordered, but cut the transmission. "Sir, we lost battleship and 5 cruisers," the woman explained from her computer. "How are we losing ships? They have no ships. The parademons are no challenge." "I found the source, sir. It's him. Apocalypse's new god," she whispered as the screen showed a smirking Kakarot easily destroying ships. "It's impossible! Darkseid wasn't even that powerful, yet he's easily destroying massive ships that could level a planet's surface." "Sir, we're losing men faster than we can replace them." "What do you mean?" he asked the scared soldier. "The parademons are bigger, stronger, and faster than before. The Furies are destroying us with ease, and these female warriors are ripping us apart before we can shoot them. We have to fall back. We were not prepared for this. Oh god, they just, The comm ended as the scream started. The commander decided to wait for a little longer to see if they can turn the battle around, but everyone on the bridge knew it was stupid to stay and fight a losing battle. "Give the order, we're pulling out. We can't win this battle," he finished, but was cut off. The bridge blew up and the air escaped through the giant hole. They all saw a golden-haired man land on the ground and walk towards the commander. "I fucking found you. That was clever to try to sneak attack us, but you horribly failed. I had some people track your signal so I could snap the neck of the bastard that thought he could challenge my planet," he shouted and grabbed the commander by his neck. "Please, I have a family," he choked out. Kakarot rolled his eyes and began closing his hand around the man's neck. "Don't try that guilt trick on me. You're pathetic, trying to save yourself before your own people. Coward," he repeated as he crushed the man's neck. He looked to the scared faces and laughed as he has a super explosive way to destroy the strip. He floated in the air as the streaming soldiers try and run back to their ships, but were cut down by his dregs. He spotted Maxima, flying towards him covered in blood, but he gave her a charming smile. "This battle is over. It only took a few hours, but they began fleeing and trying to surrender to us. We just killed them," Maxima said as she floated next to Kakarot. "You look beautiful covered in my blood, my dear Maxima. Should your new look? It matches your hair," he taunted as he pulled him closer to his neck. "Don't try to flatter me after pulling that stunt in the throne room. You owe me a romantic evening when this battle is over, Kakarot, and no one will interrupt us," she said in a sly voice. "Oh joy," he muttered as he watched the battle with Maxima. He saw the Furies laughing as they killed soldiers and saw Barda throwing tanks at the fleeing soldiers. Diana was still slashing people and her Amazons continued their assault. He saw the bright lights from crashing ships on Granny Goddess's side and a laughing Artiza destroying ships left and right. He smirked as he knew his army was almost ready to move out and destroy other worlds and kill the people who hold power. He had his first target. It said nothing was stopping him from taking it. New Genesis was going to burn, and he will stand over the Highfather while watching his floating city fall to the planet and burn, just like his enemies. And that is the end of Chapter 2. And that is where we're going to stop for now. I know this was quite the short part, but I'll make sure to make it a little longer next time. It's just that I felt the need to upload something like right at this moment because it just feels so cool. And the thumbnail's going to look a little different this time just because I want to make like a really cool image with it because I can't get over the fact that I love Dragon Ball. I love the concept of Goku being a god of destruction and really do expect What If Goku Was Betrayed because that series is going to be a fucking banger. I promise you that. Thank you so much for the support. Once again, let's try to hit 100 likes. And thank you so much to my channel members, okay? I know there's only 2 of you out there, but thank you so much to my channel members, Mr. K and Comrade Pi der Blot. You guys are a huge help to my channel, and you guys have no idea how much it helps me to have somebody like this on here. So thank you so much for the support. Let's try to hit 100 likes once again. Remember to go subscribe to my other channels, which is Fallen DxD and Spartanic Arts DxD, as you must probably do know me. But without further ado, that was pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for the support. It's been absolutely amazing. We're actually going to hit 9,000 subscribers on this channel. That's one of the coolest things. I can't wait to have 2 channels over 10,000 subscribers. Your boy's going to be on the grind this summer. Expect really well edited videos with images and pictures coming soon. And without further ado, Spartanic Arts or Ann Palpowski out.